Welcome to the Love Spark podcast. My name is Tonya Mavaros, a relationship consultant and coach. I utilize information and tools backed by years of research with my clients to help them deepen connection and strengthen their relationship.
And I'm Stevi Mavaros, Tanya's wife and a dedicated lifelong learner and advice giver.
Our podcast aims to bring relationship resources to all couples by not only telling you what they are, but by completing activities together in real time so you can hear them put into practice.
In addition, we'll also be interviewing real couples to learn more about their story, how they've handled conflict, managed difficult moments, and discuss the biggest successes they've celebrated.
We hope you enjoy and find us a valuable learning tool for you, your partner, or future partner. Let's get started. Disclaimer: this podcast discusses sensitive topics that listeners may find activating. Listening discretion is advised. Okay, so we're back for another episode of doing our own work on this 7 principles to make marriage work. We are going over chapter 2 and those exercises, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we found interesting from the book and how that kind of relates to us and life in general and so on. And
so, chapter 2, what does make marriage work?
Ooh, do tell.
I think it's kind of funny, actually, because we do have a lot of conversation about this particular topic, friendship within a partnership, right? And we both don't like it. And it's kind of funny timing-wise, because I just was talking to my therapist about this like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That, like, everyone always talks about how, you should marry your best friend and you're best friends with your spouse, and that's how you make marriage work. But I do not view partnership through remotely the same lens that I view friendship.
Yeah.
However, I kind of understand what they mean by that, right? So, well, I guess backing up a little bit. What does make marriage work? Friendship, apparently.
Yeah, you're right. We've had this conversation a couple of times. I also don't like tying friendship with partnership. Honestly, I would actually like to do more of a deep dive and kind of like the whys behind why we're labeling it that. Like if I could ask the Gottmans a question, I guess that would be my question is like, are you looking at, I would feel like they're looking at it kind of like we're looking at it, right?
Yes.
It's not necessarily friendship, but there are things that you can do to create a bond and
trust
in a partnership. Because I will tell you, I can understand where they're coming from, because in my last marriage, I think we fucking hated each other by the end. Like, I didn't like the man. I did not like him. And I can be very positive that he did not like me either. And so we had lost the friendship of our relationship.
Right.
However you would define that.
Right. So I would say that it's really about the relationship that you have outside of romance and sex.
Very much so.
Yes. Which I think is what people are really referring to when they talk about the friendship within a relationship. It's like outside of the sex part. Which, like, duh.
I would take it one step further and say outside of the roles. Right? Because not only just the sex and the romance, but outside of you as parents.
As a partner, too.
As a partner or this person within the relationship.
So you think that the term friendship really refers to a partnership in which you stay conscientious of the other person's autonomy? Okay, I can get with that. All right, so that's the definition of friendship that we're going to use.
You're going with that.
Yes, because as I've said to Tanya before, I would never trust a friend the way that I trust my partner. I would never have the expectations for a friend that I would have for a partner, and all of that being outside of the sex and romance part of it. So, But we will go with this as our definition of friendship.
Well, hold on. Let's actually see. Let me circle back. Here we go. On page 21, for anybody that owns it, under the highlighted friendship versus fighting, at the heart of the 7 principles approach is the simple truth that happy marriages are based on a deep friendship. By this, I mean a mutual respect for and enjoyment of each other's company.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Like, but let's take this and think about it. Can we create another word? Or is there another culture that has another word that isn't friendship?
We'll get into that on our own time. For our audience, let's get into the work we did with this chapter. So, what does make marriage work? So,
I'll read first. You want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, in the workbook, that is the topic, Reflect and Journal, it says happy relationships are based on a strong friendship, or something else from another culture.
Or some other word that might be more applicable.
Reflect and journal on a specific moment in your relationship when your friendship was strong. I would say, so my first thought to this question was at the very, very beginning of our relationship, when he who shall not be named was being such an asshole, and I ended up just sobbing in the middle of my in the middle of my bed, and you were just there holding me. And I was gonna say that, but then I felt like that to me was like
intimate,
more significant of a partnership.
Yeah.
And so here's what I wrote instead. While it was a big gesture, one way this happens is by sharing likes and experiences that are not our preference. For instance, watching The Princess Bride, seeing you smile and hearing you laugh, just your sheer excitement and enjoyment. Then being able to surprise you for our anniversary with a meet and greet, even though it was a grand gesture, it was the culmination of so many moments of sharing things that we might not be meaningful to us, but was meaningful to you.
Interesting example.
Well, I didn't. Listen, trying to pick one thing is very difficult for me, as you well know.
Yes.
And so,
I want to give all of the examples.
That was the example, but then it got me thinking about like taking you to the symphony and taking you to see Black Violin and just like all these different things that I normally wouldn't do for myself. To me, that's a key component of friendship. But I don't do it begrudgingly either.
Right. You go and see what you can enjoy about the experience you wouldn't have chosen for yourself.
Really, what I enjoy most of all is just watching you and watching you enjoy it.
Aw, you're so cute. I don't know how to feel about my answer now.
Well, just read it.
Well, so you went right to the beginning. I went to something super recent, and you went to something really positive, and I was like, that's not where I went. And here's the thing. When the question came up, it was the absolute first thing that came to my mind, and I was like, all right, that's what we're going with.
I just told you my absolute first thing.
Fair.
And I didn't go with that. So, like, I appreciate that you went with the first thing that came to your
mind. Okay. So, for a little backstory before I read this.
Oh, no.
Yes. Which I know you're not going to be thrilled when I say this, but.
Oh, no.
Not like that.
Okay.
But we're currently in the midst of some fairly intense drama with my family.
There will be a podcast that will be an episode that will be released.
Right. But as of right now, you guys have no context, but there has been quite a rift between my mother and I. So my reflect and journal about when a specific moment in our relationship that our friendship was strong, I said, recently my partner said, I don't think your mom loves you.
Oh, God.
Which you did. You said that.
I
think in the grocery store, actually.
I did say that in the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a strong and potentially hurtful statement. But because I know my partner's invested in my well-being, I understood that it wasn't intended to hurt me and that it was just to examine the complex situation with my mother in a way that might offer some helpful perspective. Right? And to me, that's a showing of how strong our friendship is, because how many people can make a statement like that, right? That's a strong statement to say to anybody. I don't think your mother loves you. Like, most people would assume a statement like that would be coming from an enemy, right? Like, that's someone who doesn't like you that says that.
Yeah.
But for me, that's a great indication of our friendship, because on the surface, yeah, that's a terrible thing to say. But because of the relationship that we have, because of the trust that we have, because I know that you care about me, and because I have faith in the goodness that inhibits your heart, I never in any moment of that statement assumed that you were saying it to hurt me,
Right.
or that you even wanted me to be hurt by that statement, but just that it was something you needed to say to shift my perspective.
Yeah.
Right? But to me, that's an indication of our strong friendship, because I don't know that we give strangers the benefit of the doubt the way that we give
That's fair.
our friends.
Well,
right?
shit. Now I'm like, man, mine was so surface level.
It wasn't. I think it's very sweet, because you basically said, like, you put yourself aside to look at me and what I want because you care about me, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And it does show how strong our friendship is. But I think that that's like the positive side of it, and then on the negative side of it, like, your friends can say shit to you that nobody else can say to you.
That's
right?
true. That's very true. There are very few friends that I have that can say shit to me that I would
Be heard about.
that I would hear, that I would listen to.
Right.
Let me reverse that. That I would listen.
There's
very few friends.
Yes. What's that phrase? Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You basically live like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So,
Oh my
but
God. Listen. It just made me think about circling back to the stupid Mormons. I was like
watching Mormon
Secret
Lives of Mormon Wives.
By all this stuff, it's so dumb. Like,
yes, but when was the last time you were in a church, my love?
Well, it's not even the church; it's the friendships in general.
Yeah,
you know,
that's fair.
Anywho,
but as far as the book goes in chapter 2, what does make marriage work, I think that are examples of strong examples of our friendship. I think those are two very important examples about that point out things that do make a marriage work. You go out of your way to do things to cater to me, to show me that you care about me and my interests. Yeah, and you join me for those and experience them with me so that we can have that quality experience together.
Let's just also point out, as I put in How to Make Memorable Date Nights, one of the 5 things that you do or do not do is you don't do something knowing that you're going to have a bad experience.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I think I put this, is because to me it's important to recognize that I do things for you that I know for sure I could probably enjoy, because I don't want to ruin your time
by having a bad time.
Or being pissy about it. So, like, for instance, enjoy camping. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's
I'll
why.
do some glamping, but not camping. Therefore, I would never, even though I love you so, so much, I would never go camping with you, because I know that I would be miserable.
Right? I mean, there's been a number of concerts that I've been like, oh my goodness, this person, and you're like, you go have fun with that. I would not enjoy that whatsoever.
But I also like, and I do like the fact that, as we've talked about, how we see a problem, we come at the problem from totally 2 different directions, yet somehow always end up finding a solution that works together.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really good example of that, where how we're sharing our experiences of friendship within the relationship.
Yeah. But I mean, that's such an important thing in a relationship to make it work, is is to prioritize the other person's preferences sometimes over your own preferences,
Well,
right?
and
If you're a
also
person who I only want to do the things I'm interested in, well, you're a shitty partner.
yeah. Well, also being able to say the hard things that you know. And I think that's the one thing that we have within our relationship is we have a fundamental belief that this person is not saying or doing this to be hurtful.
Right.
So what we say to each other, even if we don't say it in a way that we would like it to sound nice, right? We still sit and listen to the feedback because we know that this person does nothing but love me and they want
Right.
nothing but the best for me.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So the next question
Indeed.
in the journal, what is the purpose of marriage for you?
Which I think should be a question you are required to answer before you sign a marriage certificate.
Thank you. But wait,
Because you should be able to explain it to each other and agree.
We're going to take a time out. I do want to explicitly say this. While this book is the 7 principles for making marriage work, I personally, without ruining it, like to say relationships because we can have, especially considering the era in which we live, we can have people who are committed in long-term relationships that do not find the value of marriage, but understand the value of that committed relationship. So therefore, if you're listening to this, this still can apply to you, even if you're not married.
Right. So I think the question is really, what is the purpose of marriage for you? If marriage is not specifically something you're interested in, then what is the purpose of a long-time companion for you? Is it solely for the companionship? Are you building something together? Whatever. But it's a question you should really consider. I mean, it's something we ask our son. Okay, you want to date this person? Why? What do you want out of a relationship? What is your goal here?
Because in some of the things that have been happening lately, he has reiterated those questions back to us, saying, "Oh my God, I think about it. I'm like, that's not what I want to do. No, thank you, girly pop." As he says. Okay, so answer the question. Right. What is the purpose of marriage for you? The purpose of marriage is to have a dedicated life partner to experience all life has in store. This means someone to support you when life gets difficult, to cheer for you and all your successes, to encourage you through challenges, and to confront you when you're not at your best. More importantly, this goes both ways and vice versa.
I disagree. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a good one.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Wifey.
Wife.
Yeah. Well,
but that to me is the purpose of a long-term relationship / marriage.
I can appreciate that. You went into a lot more. No, you went into a lot more explanation than I did. Is all. She's like, oh, that was very fleshed out. Okay.
It's very cliche, but I feel like
I don't know if I call it cliche, but I mean, solid answer, my love.
Thank you.
My answer. What is the purpose of marriage for you? I don't know why I answer this like I'm in school. I will apologize for that, but it's what happened. To engage in a lifetime partnership to build an agreed upon life vision together.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, like, I think it's fairly common for there to become some distance in your routine. Like, you might have a daily life where you really don't interact with each other a ton. If you both work long hours or have slightly different schedules or whatever, you might not actually spend a ton of time daily together. And especially if your life vision, maybe the first 5 years of your marriage, is you're both busting ass at work to secure your financial position, right? So to me, it's like your partnership should be about your shared vision.
Yeah.
Right? Because why would you need a partnership otherwise?
Oh my God. You know what we should do? I feel like we need to just type up these questions and then just smush our answers together. Because I will say, while yes, these are both complete answers, I feel like putting them together makes
Yes.
it a complete
Complete.
finalized answer.
Right. Because
Because
you
when I
took
think
on a lot of
about it,
the smaller daily nuances of,
yeah,
yeah.
but when I think about it, it's like, yeah, I could do all of these things, or we could do all these things, but if we don't have a shared vision, then what the hell is the point of doing all these things?
Right.
Right? But it's like, what's the point of having a shared vision if you're not doing all these little things? Because by the time you get to that vision, are you still going to have the friendship,
Right.
the foundation of the relationship / marriage?
Right. Right.
Also,
Solid.
side note,
Hmm.
for those
I saw something occur to you.
for those listening, I do apologize for the terribleness of the audio, as I did not have my microphone on that entire time.
How is it that you do this so often? You're the mic person.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Ma'am. I love you so hard.
Next
Okay.
question. Next question. What, sorry, the next question. In what ways do you fulfill this purpose?
Well, I think you should go through and explain how you fulfill.
This feels like a terrible answer, but it's what I wrote.
Okay.
I believe that I fulfill this purpose because I do just that, and so do you. While I still have work to do on being able to confront, I believe I have done a good job of all the others and can always improve them too. I'm sorry if that was terrible because my writing wasn't the greatest.
Remind us what your things were again. The
Um,
purpose of marriage for you is
to support when life gets difficult, to cheer you on through
to do
success, to
that.
encourage you through
To do that.
challenges, and to confront when you're not at your best.
I
So
think you do a
ultimately,
good
I
job of all
say,
of those things.
well, I don't feel like I do a good job at confronting when you're not at your best, because I find that I give a lot of space and put a lot of time in between how I feel if you're not at your best and when I tell you how I feel when you're not at your best.
Yeah,
Which
you do that.
which does lead into, I
Uh-huh.
think uh, a passage within the book that we'll ultimately read here in a few minutes, but I think that's where I need to do the work, because I need to work on when I share that with you. And I think the problem is that I'm so worried about how I share it still,
Yeah.
even after
All this
almost 6
time.
years,
Yeah.
that there's so much lag time in between the feeling and when I talk to you, because I still worry about how I share it versus just sharing it. Because I don't follow the theory of, I know that I love you and would never say anything to hurt you.
Which is funny because you say terrible things to me all the time, and I'm always like, okay, yeah, that does sound terrible, and now explain it. But like, have I ever gotten upset
No, no, you have not.
or had any kind of uncool reaction?
Not that I can recall, because if you had, it wasn't big enough for me to remember.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
yeah. But anyways,
You know why? Because I'm amazing.
that's true. You are super amazing. But that was my answer. What was your answer?
Okay. So, in what way do you fulfill this purpose? Again, the purpose that I put was to engage in a lifetime partnership to build an agreed upon life vision together. We fulfill this purpose by we talk about the future and what we want in comparison to the present, and we make plans to attain those desires. We both give mental and financial resources to that vision while we maintain the integrity to uphold the trust within our partnership.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, and I put the maintaining the integrity to of the relationship to uphold trust within the partnership, because you can't continue building a shared vision if you don't trust each other to contribute the resources needed to fulfill that vision,
That's
right?
very true.
if one person is not contributing mentally, they're not willing to say, yeah, well, when we buy our dream house, this is what I want from it, or whatever. Like, that's not, you're not maintaining the integrity there. So I just felt like it was important to put that in, because trust, I think, is such a deeply important part.
I want to say that, so first of all, you have not read this book. This is your first reading.
Correct.
I have read this book.
Right.
Well, because I do this.
Before this, you have read this.
I have read this.
This is the second time reading this book.
Well, yes. And
possibly
all the other things.
Third.
But also, I walk people through this. And one of the things I did want to point out that I didn't at the time, especially with your purpose of marriage, is that is actually one of the most key principles, and it's the seventh principle, is create shared meaning. Right? And I like how this is basically laying the groundwork, laying the foundation, putting it out there, because you will circle back to it, and that's where principle 7 comes in, right? And so I really appreciate that you that was kind of there just instinctively. And by the way, I think it's also important to talk about the reason that I got into Gottman work and became a Gottman leader was because our friends talk about us being #couple goals. And that's because we authentically share the struggles that we have, the conversations that we have. And because we do those things in a way, we are always in attunement with each other.
Yes.
And I remember being on Instagram and somehow finding something. Oh, no, I was actually watching BDE, Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
And she said something about the Gottmans. I was like, who the hell are these people? And so I looked them up, and I was watching a lot of their reels, reading a lot of their stuff. And I was like, holy shit. These are the things that we do naturally and instinctively within our relationship
that have made it so good.
That has made it so good. And the book actually opens by saying that successful marriages / couples do these 7 principles. They may not recognize that they do them, but this is what they do. And I was like, oh my God, we're those people. So
we didn't know, but we do.
Yes.
We do the thing, and we don't know that we're doing the thing.
So that's where that started. So now that we've covered the workbook stuff, there were some things in the book that I thought were super fascinating and that I wanted to share.
Oh, yes.
So if you happen to have the book and you want to follow along,
like PSO, not POS.
Yes. We're going to go to page 22 to talk about PSO.
Not POS.
So, page 22, let me take my glasses off. I don't have bifocals yet, and I'm not going to, at least for another 30 years. So whatever.
Maybe.
So we read basically, as we'd begun at the beginning of the podcast, what does friendship mean? The second paragraph says, friendship fuels the flames of romance because it offers the best protection against feeling adversarial toward your spouse / partner.
Yes. The benefit of the doubt, people. The benefit of the doubt.
We've talked about this in a lot of our casual conversations podcasts, so the mini seasons. But one of the things that we specifically talk about with amongst, should I dare say, some of the couples that we know, is that when there is conflict, it feels like it seems like they're approaching the conflict to win. Right. To win and to convince and to bring the other person onto their way of thinking, basically against each other, adversarial. Right. And that's one of the things that we do not do. No. We are attacking the problem and trying to find the solution to the problem, not each other.
Right. Yes.
So, which leads to the concept of having a positive sentiment override.
PSO. Positive sentiment override.
This was proposed by the University of Oregon and by psychologist Robert Weiss. And all this means is that your positive thoughts about each other and your marriage are so pervasive that they tend to supersede negative feelings, also known as negative sentiment override. And so when you know what, here's the example that I think about. Now, every once in a while, I get a little grumbly under my breath with you.
Yes.
Just annoyed.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, I always...
Unnecessarily so, really, if you think about it.
I really have more positive feelings about you. But the way that I feel about this is like, you know, in movies or TV shows, sometimes you have the old married couple who love each other, but they're always grumbling about each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it's never anything major or specific, but it's just this negative sentiment about their partner on a consistent basis. I can't even give you an example.
It's kind of the sitcom couple.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
The sitcom couple, they make it work, but like they're not always the like older couple, the parent couple usually, or grandparent couple. They're not generally very pleasant to each other.
No, they're not. And I think that sometimes media does, more often than not, media does a huge disservice because we see that and we laugh at it, and we can laugh at it because there is a level of,
because we've seen it,
experience where we've seen it. But at which point in time does it stop being funny? Right? It's funny on TV, but if you're living that as your life, you know what I mean? Are you so in it that do you even recognize that's what's happening anymore? And then also, and I think grumblings are fine, but it's when you start looking at your partner as, oh, my partner spilled a little coffee on the counter. They're always doing that. Why can't they just get it together and at least not spill badly or wipe it up?
I think it's actually a little deeper than that. I think it's, they spilled coffee on the counter and didn't clean it up. They obviously don't even care anymore. They don't even care that they're making a mess. They don't even care what an inconvenience to me it is that now I have to clean this up.
How does that impact the other person?
Right. They're not even thinking about me.
Yeah.
And it's that assumption that it's like almost purposeful obliviousness.
Yes.
Right? Like they're not even trying. They're not even, they don't even want to be better, as opposed to, oh man, I wonder if they were in like a big rush today. I should text them and make sure they made it to work okay. Whatever. You know, but yeah, it's very common to see that. You're right.
Well, the other thing is too, and I picked this as a prime example because in our household, it happens very frequently.
What happens?
That you make coffee and you spill coffee on the counter and you don't wipe it up. That's why I picked this example. Do you not even notice? Do you not even notice?
I put the paper towel on it most of the time.
Another example, there's sometimes sugar crumbs.
Okay, all right.
But wait.
Fair.
My point to this, the reason that I picked this example is because...
You can't attack me and not let me defend myself.
No. The reason that I picked this example is because sometimes I go, ugh, but most of the time I think about it like this. We don't ever have coffee unless we're having coffee together. For the most part, neither one of us brew coffee unless we're together on weekends.
Yeah.
And a vast majority of times, you're the one making my cup of coffee. Yeah. So I don't have to get out from under my cozy blanket, get my feet cold.
Oh, thanks.
My wife brings me a nice cup of coffee with whipped cream on top. And I walk into the kitchen and I see that mess and I go, and then I think, I didn't have to get up to get that. I love her so much. And then I wipe it up.
Thanks so much for acknowledging.
You're welcome.
What I do. Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think what it is, really, what it is like, why clean it up when I'm gonna make a mess on the next cup also? So I might as well just wait until I'm done with coffee to clean up the coffee mess. Why would I clean up the mess? It's like cooking, right? You're like, why don't you wipe the counter? Well, why would I wipe the same drip off the counter 86 times when I can just wipe once and get all 86 drips? It's less efficient to do it your way.
Well, because...
But I also forget every time to do it at all. But so that's fair.
Fair enough.
But to be fair, I don't expect you to clean it up.
So when does it get cleaned up then?
Well, I mean, that's the coffee counter, baby. Yeah, I feel like you can always tell where people make coffee in their house. Like,
yeah,
come on.
You're so ridiculous.
I mean, I would clean the counter when I clean the counters. Why would I clean one spot of the counter when there's another 8 linear feet of counter to clean?
Stop telling people what our kitchen looks like. Jesus.
It's only because I'm in charge of it.
Okay, fine.
Love you.
Positive sentiment override. This is a perfect example.
I mean, it is, right? Because, like, I can tell that it genuinely annoys and bothers.
Oh my god, it does.
And we're laughing super hard about it, but I think we're laughing because I am so, like, oh, huh, I didn't even think about it. And you're like, oh my god, it irks my very soul every goddamn weekend. But, like, you know I'm not doing it on purpose to irk your soul, and I find it funny that it irks you that much when I don't even notice.
But to be fair...
I mean, not to say I don't notice.
But to be fair,
yeah,
as a neurospicy brain,
mm-hmm.
our table, and I also work from home, hybrid, our dining room table is also my workspace.
Yeah.
And so it's a little cluttery.
Which you say, and I also don't notice that. So you're like, oh, the dining table. And I'm like, why? What's wrong with it? It looks like it always does. And you're like, yeah, that's the problem. And I'm like, no, I think that's just how we live, honey. I think that we just live with our dining table very cluttered because it's where you work most of the time.
Yeah.
I
give me so much grace, and I appreciate it.
Well, it doesn't bother me.
But also,
if I need space, I put my arms on the table, I push out, and I make a
oh my
little
god,
space.
sometimes it does get that bad, but not always.
Sometimes. I mean, to be fair, you keep clear of my little corner of the table for the most part anyway. Which is super annoying because then Kieran's always using my little corner. So that
here's the thing. As a little ADHD brain, it's difficult for me to be like, why would I put it away when I'm just going to use it again tomorrow all day?
Which is exactly what I just said about the coffee stains. But you don't understand that one.
We digress.
Yes, we do.
Okay, but here you go.
But obviously, our positive sentiment override. But, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't notice the table, but it's hilarious to me that, like, the coffee will irk you, but the table doesn't irk you. And I'm just like, to me, it
because
all
the
looks
table
the same.
Is functional things I will use every single day.
Uh-huh.
Versus the coffee stuff is like, that's food spill, essentially, which I'm like, that should be cleaned up.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. And if it were, like, dripping down things, but, like, it's like a drip on the counter, it's not going anywhere, it's not hurting anything. It'll probably get wiped up by the paper towel when I pick up the spoon anyway.
Okay.
It'll be fine. And
this is a little inner workings to our madness. Positive sentiment override. There you go. Perfect example. Then the other thing that I found in here that I actually thought was really fascinating, it's a little bit of a longer passage, but it gives an example of what a relationship of negative sentiment override could look like.
Yes, this was a good one.
And let me just tell you, I will say, as I read this, I didn't want to highlight the entire paragraph, so I just marked it the outside with a highlighter instead.
Bracketed the entire
section. So the reason that I think that this, I really actually like this is because it I've lived this example essentially
Mm-hmm.
in my last marriage. I've lived this example.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, it's no surprise to find that Tina and Matt's marriage is marked by negative sentiment override, which will interfere with their ability to build a mutually supportive relationship. In fact, they assume the worst about each other to such a pervasive degree that they become trapped in an absorbing state of negativity I call the Roach Motel for lovers. This horrible place is marked by endless conflict and bad feelings. Couples check into it and then discover they can't get out. When couples become trapped in the Roach Motel, they each come to believe that their partner must be fundamentally selfish. Their minds will fill with thoughts like, he doesn't care how I feel, and all that matters to her is getting her way. These were actually statements that were said out loud at one point in time.
Only once?
I didn't say that.
You're just saying at least once.
At least once. Each becomes increasingly convinced that the other isn't on their side and doesn't have their back. The relationship devolves into a zero-sum game in which one partner's victory is perceived as the other's defeat. In the presence of this chronic distrust, the sense of safety vanishes. The sound relationship house cannot stand. The walls are ripped apart, leaving the relationship unguarded from the lure of outside forces. Which,
mic drop.
Thank you. Which then in the book, which we're not going to get into, but then in the book it moves into how can non-sexual betrayals. So that's what it rolls into, is non-sexual betrayals, yes. Which include emotional deceit, siding with a parent against one's mate, disrespecting the partner, and breaking significant promises.
Emotional distance. You said deceit. Emotional distancing.
Oh yeah, sorry, emotional distance. My bad. And then at the end of it, it says, research indicates that betrayal lies at the heart of every failed relationship.
Yep.
So, also...
Hey, if I can't trust you with my feelings, what can I trust you with?
Exactly.
I mean, we both know you can't trust me with the coffee, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I'll let you do it anyway. No, I don't let you do anything, but I appreciate that you do it. Yes. So I think it's important to understand that this comes into play because we're talking about the friendship component and making sure that we're viewing our partners in a positive way. One thing I will say in this reading, so a couple things. One, you actually have the ability to choose to how you see your partner.
Yes.
You have the ability to choose that. It is a choice. Right? But in seeing all the positive things about you, it actually makes the annoying things less annoying most of the time, and things that we can laugh about.
Yes.
But the other thing I wanted to say, for those of you listening right now, if you've had conflict with your mate about your in-laws or their parents or your parents, I'm just going to tell you right now, you will always lose if you side with your parents. You should always side with your mate. Even if you disagree about it, there is a whole video that Dr. John Gottman actually put out on Instagram saying, you never side with your parents. You always side with your mate.
Yeah. If the conflict is between your parents and your mate, you're on your mate's side or you're dumb.
Yes.
Basically.
Thank you. I've always said that. And I was like, oh my God, thank God this doctor finally just said what I said.
Well, I mean,
it's common sense, but
it's dumb to side with your parents over your mate at a point in your life in which you have a mate.
It's fair,
right?
Give a good example. Give an example.
So, say you and your partner have a child, and you're...
Oh my God, I thought about a child's scenario in my head.
It's the easiest one.
That's true.
You have a child, and you're deciding on what school to send them to. Your parents think that you should send them to, a private Catholic school. Your mate wants to send them to a Montessori school. What are you going to go with? Who are you siding with? Are you taking your parents' reasoning into consideration? Well, why would you? What does it matter? You're not raising your kids with your parents. You're raising your kids with your partner. What you think and what your partner think are what matters. What your parents think is their opinion.
Yeah.
And they can have their opinion. They're not raising your children.
Here's a
They're
question.
not building a shared vision of the future with you together. And I think that's what it is, really is. If you have chosen a mate, you have chosen to build a life with a person. Why on earth would you put anyone else's thoughts and opinions over the person who you are actually building that life with?
It's a very good question. Why would you?
But like,
I feel like most of
unless
it's like
you have
people
really,
pleasing.
I mean, unless you have really strong feelings about, I want my kid to go to a Catholic school,
Well,
you
but here's
know.
the thing that I was actually going to ask you about this.
Hmm.
So let's say that, let's keep with this example, and let's say, yes, your parents think your kid should go to a Catholic school, but you also fully believe that your kid should go to a Catholic school. Now, how do you approach this conflict? Because I see this as, even if I feel like very strongly about this, if I mention whatsoever that my parents feel this way, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure they're very open about it anyway,
Right.
will you ever be able to argue your point without
Mm-hmm.
your partner viewing that it's your parents' opinion coming in?
I think beyond that, it doesn't matter so much if it's their opinion. Why are you loading up your side like you're fighting against your partner?
But that's not the question. But that's not the
But
question.
it is.
I'm not saying
But
that
it
you're
is the
loading
question.
your side.
But you are.
But you're
Because now you're making the argument is between your parents and your spouse, and you're picking a side instead of the
but
problem being the problem and you and your spouse attacking the
But
problem.
the question isn't you're telling your spouse this. We all know parents are more than happy to give their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, but what if you, as a person, genuinely believe that Catholic school is the way to go?
Mm-hmm.
Can you ever argue that with your partner and let that still seem valid to them because the parents also believe the same thing? Right? So I'm saying,
Here is the only way in which I see that working.
okay, but you understand what I'm asking
I
you.
do understand what you're
Okay.
asking. If you and your partner are sitting down, say, she wants a Montessori school, you want a Catholic school.
Yes.
The way I was raised and the way my parents raised me, these are the beliefs that I have held because of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you bring your parents into that conversation. Well, my parents also think that
Oh God, don't ever do that.
Billy should go. Well, now you're loading up your team
Mm-hmm.
that you're using to fight your partner. That's two very different ways. So yes, you
But
can
that's what I'm
talk with
asking.
you
That
can
was my
talk.
question.
Well, right, but and that's what I'm saying is there are ways to do it, but it's not about what they think. It's about how you became the person to
Mm-hmm.
have the opinion that you have because your parents are not part of the decision.
Right. So I guess my question for anybody that's listening, and you can always put comments within the podcast episodes and
Yeah, feel free to message
YouTube,
us.
whatever, message us. I guess my question is, if this has happened to you, and let's say your partner has approached it as, this is how I was raised, these are the values that I have, and this is why I believe this is a good option. Do
Mm-hmm.
you still feel that that is coming for your partner, or do you still feel that the parents are still having an influence? Because my concern is that if the partner approaches and says, these are my values, this is how I raised, this is what I feel is going to
Mm-hmm.
be the best option,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can the other partner take it as your mate's specific opinion, or do you still feel that the parents are weighing in because of that? Like, is it really actually their sole decision, even if they're not saying, well, my parents feel this way, blah 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 blah? Is there so much contention within the relationship of the parents and stuff that even that level of value that your partner has, you can't view that without the parents' input? Like, you're still viewing that the parents have that input, even though that's their values.
I mean, at that point, if the way that your partner talks about how how they came to their own conclusions and you somehow twist that into them parroting their
Mm-hmm.
parents, or you feel that that is them parroting their parents, then there's a much
Mm-hmm.
deeper there's something much deeper going on, and I would assume that there's been a lot of conversations where either parents were involved or brought up in such a way that it was made obvious that it was, well, this is what my parents think.
Yeah.
Which, and here's the thing, our parents have influence over us. But are you going to allow your parents to have influence over your life or just over you? Right? Because yeah, your parents can influence your thoughts and opinions and maybe some of your decisions and things, but you need to make the decision of, are you going about life from your parents' playbook, or are you figuring out life on your own or with your partner? Right? So and to me, those are deeper issues that should become very apparent long before you ever get to that discussion.
One would hope.
But
ultimately, what does make marriage work? Basically, positive sentiment override.
Giving each other the benefit of the doubt.
And understanding
you're autonomous people. And
your parents, you never side with your parents.
Oh, yes. Never side with your parents.
Yeah. So, well, I feel like this was a fun...
It's a good chapter.
We laughed so much.
We did.
Over dumb stuff, but I love it. So this was a good chapter. We will be back next week with chapter 3 and what that all entails, and share our work, how we discuss things, and maybe some insights from the chapters that we read.
Indeed.
Before we end the show, there's a special invitation for you. I want to invite you to join the upcoming Love Spark Focus Group. It's my privilege to guide couples to relationship wellness, but I can only do that by getting honest feedback and discussion about the process. This focus group is free and can only accommodate 50 couples.
We are also looking for couples who would like to join the discussion by being guests on the podcast. So head over to milovespark.com to apply for both opportunities.
As always, thank you for listening. Find us on Instagram or Facebook at LoveSparkDates. And until next time, listen intently, speak kindly, and cherish each other.
Indeed.